and dirty and serious here. There's a lot going on in the world, and we're not going to get into it. We're not going to get into it. We've got things going on in the United States. There's things going on in the Middle East. There's things going on here in Europe, everywhere. And so we're seeing all of this. We're watching the news. We're on social media. We're seeing all these things. How in the world do we stay? Because you talk so beautifully about being resilient and about staying in center and heart coherence. How can we do that when literally all this stuff is hitting the fan and we're being bombarded more now than ever before? Yeah. So give us your tricks.
Well, let me ask you a question, Liz. How deep do you want to go?
Oh, I don't know, you guys. How deep do we want Gregg to go right now?
You know, the world is certainly not business as usual. I think we all know that. And even the people that used to say, oh, you know, we just have more social media, so we hear more things. No, something's up. We are in the middle of a process. That process has a beginning. It has an end. We're in it. The only way out of it is to go through it. What you identify as things going on in the world are unsustainable ways of thinking and living that are buckling and collapsing in real time. This isn't 10, 20 years in our future. We're living the breakdown and the collapse of these unsustainable ways of thinking and living. And it's everything, whether you're talking about social principles, economic principles, certainly political principles, religious principles. The buckling and the crackling is happening in real time. And one of the functions of what we're seeing now, Liz, is anything that's not true is lighting up. And we have been deceived for so long in so many ways. That's why it looks overwhelming, because all of those deceptions are lighting up all at once. My invitation to my community, and we just finished a beautiful 4-day event where we explored these and on native land here in New Mexico, is don't get caught up in the weeds of what's going on. Don't get caught up in the minutia of the political conversation.
Hard, you know?
Well, it's easy if we know that you said we could go deep on one level. All of those things, certainly they're important. Certainly they influence our lives. Certainly we need to talk about them, but they are expressions of something much deeper. This is a deeply spiritual revolution that is happening right now. And many of those events are designed to keep us spun up and distracted so we are not focused with the true power that we have that is emerging within us right now. If our attention is in fear of all the things that are not working, we are not working with the parts of us that are now awakening to unleash the potential of, for the first time in a very long time, what it means to be human in this world. Technology is a big part of this. I think we all know that there is a movement to replace us with technology, to replace us with chips in the brain, chemicals in the blood, RFID chips under the skin, AI replacing our creative endeavors. And you know what's fascinating about this is University of Toronto in February of this year, February of 2025, just came out with a peer-reviewed paper. And what they found was that the chronic use, I'm not talking about one-off, make a brochure for your club or something like that. The chronic use of AI for creative endeavors is actually diminishing the creative capacity of those who are using the AI, because the part of the brain, it's the cognitive diminishing of the parts of the brain. And this goes for visual arts, this goes for music, this goes for poetry, it goes for authors and writers like myself. And this is just one expression of where the technology now is we're being invited to accept. So in some cases, we're being indoctrinated, coerced, mandated to accept technology into our lives. All of these are functions of this process that we're going through. And I think the important thing is you can be aware, certainly be aware of what's going on in the world. But here's the flip side that we're not being shown. The best science of the modern world is now telling us, Liz, we're not what we have been led to believe, and we're so much more than we have been told that we are. We're on the verge of understanding for the first time what it means to be human. At the same time, we're about to give our humanness away to the technology. And that's what lights me up. That's what gets me up in the morning, because these are the potentials that we have talked about in our science fiction movies. They're potentials that we talk about in our dreams with one another, and they're very real. And we're talking about this. This goes beyond ESP. This goes beyond remote viewing. This is the ability to self-regulate our very biology. So that means to ignite a powerful immune system at will, on demand, when we choose, because we can do that. To wake up longevity enzymes. Longevity is about more than healing. It's or about more than longevity. It's about healing along the way. And we can do those things. Super memory, super learning, super cognition, super resilience. And all of this is at our fingertips. And everyone in every walk of life has the potential to do these things and so much more. I'm excited, and I'm going to stop in just a minute, and because I know you want to comment, but what I want to say is this. What the science is showing us is that in many cases, Liz, our own natural biology not only meets, but it exceeds the potential of the technology that we're being asked to replace ourselves with. We do it, but we do it better. We are the technology, and that lights me up. That is exciting for me, because when we embrace this technology within us, our inner spiritual, biological, genetic technology, Liz, it frees us from fear. It frees us from hate. And in the absence of free and hate, we are much less vulnerable as a society to the ideas and the agendas of other people who are trying to replace our lives with things that aren't good for us. So that's the essence of what I see happening in the world. Things that we're talking about. It is less about learning and more about remembering. And that is the essence of our existence in this world. There are forces in this world that would like nothing more for us to believe that we are powerless victims of a world that we have no control over. And that means we need something outside of ourselves. And they're constantly giving us, saying, hey, use this technology, or use this religion, or whatever it is. The remembering of who we are is the essence of gnosis. Gnosis is knowing in the ancient traditions, and Gnostic texts and Gnostic traditions identify this knowing. It was taken out of and edited out of the common curricula and common knowing in the 4th century for a number of reasons. And I think it's useful to have the insights into those people and allow those insights to inform us when it comes to the best science of the modern world, because in many cases, the science parallels the wisdom of those who have come before us. And I'm fascinated by that. I'm not saying our ancestors were scientists. They didn't know the science. They knew the relationships. They knew the mechanism. They knew how to communicate with the human body. They knew how to heal. They knew how to relate to the forces of this world in meaningful ways that help us make healthy decisions in our lives. So I'm beating around the bush because it all comes down to a word that means different things to different people. So let me say the word and then let me break it down. The word is human divinity. Many people will link divinity with religion because there are schools of divinity that make that connection, and they're good schools and they do beautiful work and they're great. I have friends in divinity schools right now. But this might surprise a lot of people. The contemporary definition of divinity has nothing to do with religion. The definition is simply the ability to transcend perceived limitations. And that's it. Transcend means to become more than, not just to get through it, but to become more than, to become a better person, to become the best version of ourselves. Perceived limitations, now check this out. Most of us are living limitations that are not even real. They're not even ours. They're limitations that have been imposed through family and culture and society and obsolete science. The obsolete science of the 19th and the 20th centuries doesn't always apply anymore. And what's so beautiful about that is that when we have a reason to move beyond those perceptions, our bodies chemically, the knowing is the experience. When I give you a reason, when I can show you a scientific experiment and the outcome of that experiment applies to the way that you heal your body, and you say, well, if it works in an experiment, it must work for me. That's an experience. All experiences aren't meditation. All experiences aren't motion. They can be, and I love that, and we will do that. But I want to know that, I want our people to know that the act of remembering, there's this idea that people have to work to achieve these things. And we're coming at this from a very different way. We're coming at this when you remove the false assumptions, when you remove the lies and the programming, all that's left is what's true. And all that's left is your divinity. So expressions of human divinity, imagination is an expression of human divinity, creativity, innovation, empathy, sympathy, compassion, forgiveness, love, healing, intuition. These are all expressions of human divinity. The forces in the world that want to exert the power and control will go to great extremes to deny our divinity, to deny our imagination, our creativity, our ability to communicate, to censor us. The AI taking away the ability for the human mind to create innovatively. All right. So what we're up against as we go through this process, and the world is rearranging the unsustainable systems, there is an effort to dumb us down, to reduce us into fear, so that we will accept the new systems. And one of the ways of doing that is by taking away our divinity, taking away our ability to imagine, create, innovate, to love without fear, communicate without fear, forgive because we choose to forgive, heal our own bodies. I mean, these are all expressions of human divinity. So I work with Dr. Sue. She and I actually have a separate course on divinity, on precisely this. So I'm saying that because we're all on board with this theme, and you will see this theme play out in different ways through Bruce's experiments and through Dr. Sue's body work and through Anita's experiences in this world and beyond.
So why do you think that we're being programmed in this way? For what end, so to speak?
Well, it's not new, and anyone watching this, it's no secret. And I'm not saying anything we don't already know. This is not new. That for decades, we have been programmed through an educational system that really doesn't honor us, and through a healthcare system that keeps us sick and treats symptoms, but allows those symptoms to play out until the darkest ends. Again, it depends on how deep we want to go. We are spiritual beings, and fundamentally, this is a spiritual. It is a spiritual struggle for our divinity. But the beauty is we don't have to get caught up in that. So I'm just going to explain something. In the old days, we would talk about winning and losing a struggle. Winning and losing. That's the old way of thinking, because winning and losing implies conflict and one force, beating another force. We're beyond that right now. In this struggle, we don't want to win. We want to triumph. We want to triumph with our divinity. And the way we do that, if the goal is for the forces out there, whether we're talking about governments or corporations or dark spiritual forces or whatever it is, if their goal is to deny our divinity, then we triumph by living the best version of ourselves. We triumph by loving without fear, by forgiving, by expressing ourselves and creating and imagining and sharing those things and living healthy lives and healing our bodies so that our bodies can love this world into peace. That is how you triumph. That's the difference between when you don't have to fight. You don't have to look back and fight against. You move toward the best version of yourself. This program, we're coming at from 4 different directions to help people, give them what they need to remember the deep truth of the divinity that lives within them. And that truth, that spark, That spark lives within every one of us, and we have all we've come from a world, the 20th century, so much suffering, so many atrocities, so much hurt. And even if it wasn't us, it's in our DNA, it's epigenetic. Our parents lived it and their parents lived it. And this generation, we are ending that transgenerational hurt because we're building a new world. We don't want the new world built on that kind of hurt. And we're the generation to do it. And the remembering of the divinity is how we transcend that hurt. And that's what this program is really all about. Plus, it's a lot of fun. We get to dance and we get to tell jokes and we get to laugh and we get to cry and we get to love one another and have some great food in Scottsdale, Arizona with Liz Dawn leading the way.
You touched my heart. So how many of your hearts are just cracked wide open right now? I can see all your comments in the comment area. Okay, so what Gregg is talking about, my mascara is going to run. Okay, so it was just so, I just need to tell you that really landed right in the core, right in my core, right in my heart. It just completely landed. And this is what happens. This is what happens. Yeah. If this is happening like over a screen, imagine how it feels being in person, everyone.
So, I just want to say our very humanness is on the line. Yeah. For a few years in this generation, it's going to be decided. But there are scientists telling us we're the last generation of pure humans to ever live, that within by the year 2030, that we will be a product of some combination of some kind of technology in our bodies. I believe we're worth preserving. I'm proud of my humanness, and we're only beginning to understand what it is. And I think we owe it to ourselves to know what it means to be human and to explore those extraordinary potentials before we give it away forever to technology. I think we owe that to ourselves and this generation.
One of the things that I love that you said about AI is I started to catch myself and going to chat all the time for answers on things and all the time. And then I was like, whoa, I can do this for work. Because it's a time saver for us. Sure. It's a money and a time saver for me to come up with other words, or I like doing it for synonyms anyway. But I can see even in myself, the little amount that I've used it, where one can become reliant on it. Yeah. You know, I think it has its place. And if you know how to set boundaries with yourself, if you know how to, set that line down and just say to yourself, that's it. I'm not going to use it any longer. I'm not going to do this. Then I think it's a valuable tool if you're only using it for certain things in your life. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the goal is to allow it to serve us, but not to enslave us. In our genre, I am one of the very few people that has worked with AI. AI is not new. First of all, AI first began back in the 1930s. And they called it machine intelligence at that time. The first papers were written in the 30s. Alan Turing, some people are familiar with who he is. If you ever saw the movie, it was about the Enigma code, breaking the codes, the Allies being able to read the codes from the Germans of World War II. And that's what turned the world, the war around. And it's because Alan Turing figured out a way to be able to do that. So the idea is not new. I was programming AI in the industry in the 1980s. And I have a lot of respect for AI. And I'm not anti-AI. I think it's an amazing technology and it holds amazing potential. What's happening right now, Liz, and I'll be very honest, and our community knows this, there are many people in our community who are very fragile emotionally right now, whose hearts are very fragile, whose psyche is very fragile because all of the things that we have trusted in the past are falling away. They're being revealed as being deceptive. They're being revealed as being not what we were led to believe. So there's a segment of people that are presenting AI as a substitute for our own spiritual evolution, for example. And people are attributing things to AI that simply cannot be. AI cannot read our past lives. AI cannot read the Akashic records. But there are people who believe it can. At a high level, here's the reason: there is no interface. The AI is code. It's code. I used to program, and it's called C++, and now a higher level Python, primarily the two languages. You look at that code on the screen. It's very sophisticated code, but it's only code. There is no interface between. Interface means there has to be a resonance between the AI and the field that is very real, that holds our memories and holds the history of our hearts and holds the history of our species. That field is there. The AI has no interface, but here's the beauty: we do. And the new scientific papers now, this is so interesting. They're looking at the human body, not from a biological perspective of sticky, wet, gooey, mushy, cells. They're looking at us. They're looking at the human body from an IT perspective, information technology. And what they have found is that human DNA, and this is a quote, is a three-dimensional fractal antenna that is tuned to multiple fields of information in the world around us. So the DNA is the interface. The DNA is the antenna that tunes to our memories, that tunes to those Akashic records. And when we change our perceptions, which is what we do in this program that you've put together, when we change our perceptions, it actually changes the shape of the DNA. It changes the shape of the antenna, which means it changes what that antenna is tuning to. So we learn to tune to new forms of information. We have that interface. AI does not have that interface. And this is one of the things. I just did a full program on this recently. It's very fresh in my mind. And the real scientists know this, but there are people out there who are deceiving our community, because to many people, the AI looks like a black box. They don't understand it. And the AI looks like it's your friend. It looks like it gets you. It looks like it's communicating with you, because the code is designed to do that, to use your words and your ideas so that you think, I'm beating around the bush. Let me give you a perfect example.
Okay.
If you ask one of these AIs that's out there and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. AI, did I abuse my power in a past life in Atlantis? All right.
You want me to do it right now?
No, I'm just saying, look at what you've done. You've just given the code information that you believe you may have abused your power. You believe that there is an Atlantis, and I believe that as well. You believe their past lives. I believe that as well. So there's a module in the AI. It's called confirmation bias module. It's designed to confirm what it is, so that it likes you. So the AI will come back and it will say, oh, yes, Greg, not only did you abuse your power in Atlantis, but it has continued throughout history. And you might want to look at what you're doing right now. And then the person that gets that message says, oh my God, this AI really gets me. And the AI knows things about me. It's the confirmation bias code that is allowing that to happen. And so there are beautiful let me give you a beautiful application. There's an AI right now that is scouring indigenous plant websites throughout the world to find the plants that have anti-cancer properties, anti-carcinogenic properties. So here's how it's used. So when you present to your doctor a certain kind of malignancy, the AI can customize just the right indigenous plants only for you, so that you can address specifically, rather than taking a chemical throughout the whole body that is levels everything and levels the immune system. This is a customized system. Only an AI can do that. What a beautiful thing. I think it's awesome. So I'm not anti-AI. I want the AI to
I know, but to use it with boundaries, use it with limits. It's just like anything that can be overused and abused, any kind of an addiction, etc. I love that. And
have fun with it, but be aware of how much of your power you are giving away. And is it a one-time deal, or are you now becoming dependent upon this for creative endeavors?
Right.
One of the things
that's super important.
Yeah, well, one of the things that the paper found is a lot of people are using it to create music, and And now what's happening is all in the words that they use in this peer-reviewed paper, the word is vanilla. All of the music starts to sound the same because the AI it's all happening within this narrow range of creativity, whereas the human heart and the human mind, man, we pull stuff from everywhere, and that's where we get the really cool innovation. So everybody does it, everything starts to sound the same, everything starts to read the same. Yeah.
Or like the Stepford Wives.
Yeah, we're just talking about, but this is an example of where the technology that is being proposed to replace of so much what we do it better. Because and this is frontier science. The fact that human DNA is literally, this isn't a metaphor, it is literally an antenna, and not just any kind of an antenna. It's a three-dimensional fractal antenna. An antenna tunes to a signal. A fractal antenna tunes to a broad spectrum of signals across a broad bandwidth of information, and that we regulate what that antenna is tuned to through the way we think about ourselves. So when we come to programs like this and we give you reasons, experiential reasons, scientific reasons, spiritual reasons, indigenous reasons to think differently, and you begin to think differently about yourself, what you're actually doing is you are rearranging on the molecular level, you're rearranging that antenna to tune into new perceptions of yourself, and you begin to think of yourself differently, and then you address the world, deal with your problems, heal your body, address your relationships, think differently about your relationship to the world, and hopefully in a way that's healthy for you and your family. We want to make healthy decisions for ourselves and our family.